Sharing is caring, my mother chirped as my sister Brooke dropped my prescription bottle into her designer purse, rattling my last week's worth of Keppra like maracas. I stood frozen in our grandmother's kitchen, watching my anti-seizure medication disappear into the black hole of Brooke's bag while our parents smiled approvingly at this display of family unity. The question that would be answered in the worst possible way was and whether I'd have a seizure without my medication. It was what the ER doctors would discover when they ran my blood tests after I collapsed in court. "Stop being so dramatic about your condition," Dad added, making air quotes that felt like slaps. "Brooke needs them for her friend who can't afford prescriptions. You can always get more." "I can get more in 10 days when insurance approves the refill," I said quietly. "These have to last me, Madison, honestly," Mom interrupted. "Your sister is trying to help someone less fortunate. Why must you always be so selfish?" "Less fortunate." I bit back the hysterical laugh. Brooke's friend was her dealer boyfriend who sold prescription drugs to college students. Everyone knew it except our parents, who lived in a bubble of willful ignorance when it came to their golden child. "I have epilepsy," I stated flatly. "I need those pills to prevent seizures." "You haven't had a seizure in 2 years, Brooke said, already typing on her phone, probably telling Derek the pickup was successful. "You're basically cured." "That's because I take my medication." "Lower your voice," Dad commanded. "We're here to settle Grandma's estate, not air your hypochondria." Hypochondria. The word burned as I watched them seat themselves at the dining table where we shared so many Sunday dinners with Grandma, where she'd been the only one who'd taken my diagnosis seriously, who'd driven me to neurologist appointments when my parents were too busy with Brooke's cheerleading competitions. "The will reading is tomorrow," Mom said, shuffling papers. "Mr. Peterson says it's straightforward. Everything's split evenly between the grandchildren." "Except we all know Madison will complain about that too," Brooke smirked. "Probably thinks she deserves more because of her disability." "I work full-time as a teacher," I said. "I've never asked for special treatment." "Teaching kindergarten isn't exactly challenging," Dad dismissed. "Not like Brooke's marketing career." Brooke's marketing career consisted of posting Instagram stories for a CBD company that was definitely not a pyramid scheme, according to her. But pointing that out would only lead to another lecture about supporting family. "Speaking of which," Brooke continued, "I'll need Madison to sign over her portion of the house sale. Derek and I are looking at investment properties." "We haven't even had the will reading yet," I protested. "Details," Mom waved dismissively. "Family helps family. You don't need a house, you have that cute apartment." My cute apartment was a 500-square-foot studio in the worst part of town, the only thing I could afford on a teacher's salary while paying for specialists, medications, and the EEG monitoring that insurance deemed experimental. "I'm not signing anything until..." The world tilted. A familiar aura washed over me, the smell of burning rubber that wasn't there, the taste of metal, the creeping darkness at the edge of my vision. "No," I whispered. "Not now. I need my pills." "Oh, here we go," Brooke rolled her eyes. "The dramatics begin." The last thing I saw before the seizure hit was my mother's exasperated face. I woke up in an ambulance, the EMT's concerned face swimming into focus. "Welcome back," she said gently. "You had a grand mal seizure. We're taking you to St. Mary's. Is there someone we should call?" My parents," I managed. "They were there. They left, hon," the EMT said carefully. "Said they had appointments. Your grandmother's neighbor called 911. Of course they left." At the hospital, Dr. Chen, who'd treated me before, looked grim as he reviewed my test results. "Madison, your Keppra levels are critically low. Have you been taking your medication?" "My sister took them," I admitted. "My parents said I was being selfish." His face darkened. "You could have died. Status epilepticus isn't something to mess around with. And..." He hesitated, "There's something else. We found traces of other substances in your blood." "What?" "I don't take anything besides benzodiazepines. Several different types. At levels that would interact dangerously with Keppra." He leaned forward. "Madison, has anyone given you anything? Food, drinks?" My blood ran cold. Brooke had been making me health smoothies for the past month. Said they'd help with my stress. "I need to make some calls," Dr. Chen said. This is attempted poisoning." The next morning, I checked myself out AMA. The will reading was at 2 p.m., and I wasn't missing it. Not now. I arrived at the courthouse, because Grandma, ever dramatic, had insisted on a formal reading before a judge, to find my family already seated. They didn't acknowledge me. Madison. Brooke said loudly. Feeling better? We were so worried when you had your little episode. Where's my medication? I asked. Derek needed them, she shrugged. His back pain is terrible. Judge Harrison, an elderly woman with sharp eyes, called the room to order. As Mr. Peterson began reading Grandma's will, I felt the familiar aura creeping back. No. Not again. Not here. To my granddaughter Brooke, Mr. Peterson read, I leave the sum of $1 and this message, your greed has been noted. What? Brooke screeched. To my son Robert and daughter-in-law Patricia, I also leave $1 each, with this note, parents who enable one child while neglecting another deserve nothing more. My parents' faces went purple. To my granddaughter Madison, he continued, I leave the remainder of my estate, including the house, all investments, and the contents of safety deposit box 472. This is insane. Dad roared. Mother was clearly senile. There's a video component, Mr. Peterson said, connecting his laptop to the courtroom screen. Grandma appeared, thin but fierce in her final months. If you're watching this, she said, then I'm dead and you're all probably squabbling. Robert, Patricia, I know exactly what you've been doing. I have cameras in my house. I've watched you dismiss Madison's medical needs. I've seen Brooke steal her medication. I've documented everything. The courtroom was dead silent. Madison, honey, check the safety deposit box first thing. I've left you evidence and resources. Don't let them bully you anymore. We'll contest this. Mom shrieked. Madison manipulated her. Your Honor, I said, standing on shaking legs. I need to present evidence of, the seizure hit like a lightning bolt. But this time, I was aware enough to hear the chaos, she's faking. Brooke screamed. Someone call 911, the judge commanded. Just leave her, she does this for attention, my father said. Are you insane? Judge Harrison's voice cut through everything, this woman is having a grand mal seizure in my courtroom and you want to leave her? The EMTs arrived within minutes. As they worked, I heard Dr. Chen's voice, he'd come straight from the hospital. Your Honor, I'm Madison's neurologist. I need to report that someone has been poisoning her. We found dangerous drug interactions in her system, drugs that could trigger potentially fatal seizures when mixed with her medication. That's ridiculous, Brooke said, but her voice was too high. Is it? Judge Harrison asked coldly. Bailiff, please ensure no one leaves this courtroom. When I stabilized, still on the courtroom floor with oxygen flowing, Dr. Chen presented my test results. Someone has been giving Madison benzodiazepines without her knowledge. Combined with the theft of her anti-seizure medication, this constitutes attempted murder. Your Honor, Mr. Peterson spoke up, I think this might be relevant. He produced a manila envelope. Mrs. Morrison suspected something like this might happen. She hired a private investigator. This envelope contains footage of Brooke Parker adding pills to smoothies she gave Madison. There are also text messages between Ms. Parker and her boyfriend discussing selling Madison's Keppra and keeping her sick, so she'd be deemed incompetent to inherit. That's fake. Brooke stammered. The investigation also revealed, Peterson continued, that the Parkers have been stealing from Madison for years. Medical identity theft, primarily. They've been filling prescriptions in her name and selling them. Your Honor, I managed from the floor, there's more. The safety deposit box, Grandma said to check it first. I think she knew. Judge Harrison nodded to the bailiff. Get that box. Now. Within an hour, the contents were revealed, years of documented evidence. Photos of my parents ignoring my seizures. Audio recordings of them calling me dramatic. Bank statements showing they'd stolen my disability payments during college. Medical records they'd hidden from me showing my epilepsy was more severe than they'd told me. And a letter from Grandma. Madison, my brave girl. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you sooner. The house has a trust fund attached, enough to pay for the best medical care for life. Don't let them near you again. Love always, Grandma. This is entrapment. Dad shouted. This is justice, Judge Harrison corrected. Bailiff, arrest Robert, Patricia, and Brooke Parker on charges of attempted murder, medical identity theft, fraud, and theft. and get Madison to a real hospital with a security detail. As they led my family away in handcuffs, Brooke still screaming about unfairness, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: validation. At the hospital, a new neurologist reviewed my real medical history. "You've been under-medicated for years," she said, horrified. "Your parents convinced doctors you were drug-seeking when you asked for proper dosages. No wonder you've struggled. They said I was being dramatic. You have a severe seizure disorder that's been criminally mismanaged. We're lucky you're alive." 6 months later, I sat in Grandma's house, my house now, finally healthy. Proper medication, no more poison smoothies, no more gaslighting. The trust fund ensured I'd never have to choose between rent and medical care again. My parents and Brooke were serving time. 5 years each for the attempted murder charge alone. Turns out Derek flipped on Brooke immediately, providing texts where she discussed getting rid of Madison to secure the whole inheritance. I'd kept one thing from the safety deposit box that I hadn't shared with the court: a photo of Grandma and me at my college graduation. On the back, she'd written, "The strongest flowers grow through concrete. You've bloomed despite their cruelty. Now flourish without it." I was finally flourishing. Teaching without fear of seizures. Taking my medication without someone stealing it. Living without being called selfish for needing basic medical care. Sometimes sharing isn't caring. Sometimes it's theft. Sometimes family isn't everything. Sometimes it's the enemy. And sometimes, the most dramatic thing you can do is simply survive despite those who profit from your suffering. The pills in my medicine cabinet were mine now. All mine. And that wasn't selfish, that was survival.